This episode is sponsored in part by Ward Law Firm, with offices in Munford and Somerville, Tennessee. Ward Law Firm offers a full spectrum of legal services including individuals, businesses, and entertainment law. Ward Law Firm is raising the bar with high-quality, efficient, and effective legal services. Call today or visit wardlawfirm.org. Also sponsored by Atoka Fitness Center. Atoka Fitness Center is a 24-hour access, state-of-the-art facility that offers tanning, classes, childcare, and more. Free weights, cardio machines, strength machines, co-ed, and women's-only areas are just a few of the amenities offered for one low monthly price. Visit atokafitnesscenter.com for more information or call 901-840-4900.
From beautiful Memphis, Tennessee, join us for Get the Part. Whether you are an actor auditioning for your first play or an actress being cast for a major motion picture, stay tuned where we will help you get the part. And now, your host, Jeff Yarbrough.
Hi, welcome to another edition of Get the Part. We have another special guest for you today, Mr. Rich Newman. Rich Newman is the founder of the Memphis Film Society and the producer of the Memphis 48-Hour Film Project. His production experience includes feature films such as the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Friday Night Lights, as well as his own documentary, Ghosts of War. His short work has screened in over 20 film festivals worldwide. Rich Newman, thanks for being with us on the show today.
No problem.
So tell us a little more detail about what you've been into here in the last few years.
Well, I've been still trying to work on big productions and stuff like that. I worked a couple weekends on Gone Girl last year, but in my own boathouse, I'm shooting more like proof of concept shorts that I can market to possibly bring a feature film to Memphis.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. Good. Tell us a little bit about Ghosts of War. What's the name of it, Ghosts of War?
Ghosts of War. It was a documentary about haunted Civil War sites. We sold it to Sci-Fi about, I think that was 5 years ago now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that long.
That's cool.
And now we weren't going to sell it anymore, so we split it up into a web series, and you can actually watch it on Vimeo.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. Well, let's get right into the heart of the matter here about what you look for when you're getting ready to cast a short or a feature or whatever you'll work with, whoever you're going to work with. What do you look for? What do you look for in a person that you're going to cast in a role?
If it's not something that's just bizarre, like a serial killer or a psychopath or something like that, if it's just a straight character, generally I just try to meet as many actors as I can, have conversations with them, and see how they carry themselves, their mannerisms, how they talk. I can do better casting having a one-on-one conversation with somebody than I can from a cattle call of any kind, or I'm going to hear 4,000 people in 2 days, So for me, we live in Memphis, theater's huge. I go see as many productions as I can, see how they do on the stage. I do things like mixers for the Film Society. A lot of times I'll just run into actors and just try how they speak and carry themselves, and I see them in a part. I'm like, oh, this is what I was looking for this part, And that's probably 80% of it. It's just picking someone who sort of already naturally fills the bill.
So maybe 20% of the time you may do a cattle call or whatever, a casting call or something like that. But the rest of the time it's all people that you've seen and met.
Yeah, it's usually people I've seen and met for sure. If we have something that has a lot of parts, if they're important, we will do a casting call and try to through headshots and things like that, get it down to where it's maybe only 20 people say per part than say 50. Mm-hmm. Then I could be more attentive and pay more attention to it, and you just kind of zone out after about 30 people reading the same thing, and we do videotape everything, so that helps, but I try to minimize that as much as possible. And if it's a big project where we actually have budget, then for stuff like that I'll use casting directors, because they know people in town better than I do, and they can send people out and they whittle it down for us. So it's a variety of things, but I would say 80% is meeting actors, shaking hands with them, talking with them, and just kind of getting a vibe for how they do things.
That's cool. Let's go to a question now. Let's see what questions we have for you.
What do you like or hate about the casting process?
What I like about the casting process is the process of meeting one-on-one with a bunch of different actors and because a lot of times, even if it's, say, a short project that I'm shooting with 4 parts, I may meet 14 people and remember people for things down the road. And that would shorten my time for future projects where I'll be like, well, you know, I didn't necessarily need this person now, but, ooh, you know, 6 months from now, I really needed this exact kind of a character and somebody that had that personality and that I could just, you know, give them a call and stick them in there. I tell you things that I hate in casting for sure is I never want to put actors in a cold read situation. I think it's worthless.
A cold read.
Yeah, where they're walking in, getting aside, and then just walking right up and reading from it. To me, it's just worthless because what you see an actor do with a page just stuck in their hand isn't even close to what they can do if they've had that, you know, that for a week or two to practice it and get it and memorize it, be off the page and stuff like that. So to me, that's the worst insult that I can give to an actor is to bring them in and then expect them to do their best, but I'm going to hand them their lines literally right before they read them. That's just terrible to me, and I hate that. I hate that happens at all in casting.
Yeah, I can see that.
How much does talent count when casting an actor?
That's an interesting question because that was actually a huge subject at South by Southwest, SXSW. You know, if it's funny, you know, it's estimated now that probably talent counts for about 20% of the casting because the reason is because talent is sort of a prerequisite. You know, everyone that should be reading should be talented. They should be able to act. If they can't act, then they're just going to be sort of snuffed off anyway. So it is only probably about 20% that, you know, the talent end of it because they're sort of expected to be able to act if they're an actor. So much more of it is their look, their style, how they carry themselves, their mannerisms, how they hold a conversation. Because ideally, it sounds weird to say this, but in a lot of situations, you don't want an actor to be acting when they're on the set. You want them to sort of just be this weird version of themselves where it's very natural, you know, in most cases. Now I realize, you know, if you're playing, you know, Queen Victoria, you know, like that's not anyone we know. So. Yeah. But yeah, I think talent is actually a surprisingly small percentage of the factors going into someone being cast. Another one's just, you know, an actor being hot at the moment, just have a particular good style that's in fashion kind of a thing.
What can an actor do to maximize their chances of getting a part?
Go for stuff that they don't like, they're not a stereotype for. I'm a huge fan of people who they go out for parts that no one would ever think that they would be good for. And just the fact that they're so far out of the box and they can put their own spin on it makes them stand out.
Cutting edge.
You know, because I mean, if I'm casting a serial killer and I get 45 white males between 20 and 28, and then a black female comes in who's 56 and she just turns on this psychopathic personality, she's going to stand out of every one of them. And so I'm a big fan of actors who sort of carve their own way, think outside the box, and go out for stuff that you don't think you can get, and just like put it, you know, spin it and do it really cool, and you'd be surprised what you'll get. So that would be my big advice.
Psycho killers, huh?
Psycho killer.
Psychopathic killers.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Good. Well, tell us a little bit about where you're headed in the future. I know you've mentioned a name or two there. I don't know if you can talk about that, but a big name or two there that you're dealing with.
Yeah, well, we optioned a couple of short stories, one from Orson Scott Card and one from Stephen King that we're developing for shorts as proof of concept for feature films. So that's literally what I'll probably be working on through this summer. Hopefully we can expand one of those into a feature and get some people some paid work in Memphis.
That would be great.
That would be
well,
great.
Tell us before you leave, something
Sure.
funny that you've seen or something funny that's happened to you on set or...
Well, funny things happen on independent sets all the time. Everything from people running out and thinking you're shooting something and it's real, and they run in the middle of the set trying to stop. I work on all the horror stuff. So when people see horror scenes taking place and they're not aware a movie's being shot, people can kind of freak out. Like, you know. And I was in Austin, Texas working on a horror short, and we had a very realistic looking monster that was in this particular film. And he took a perverse pleasure in running around the woods when we weren't shooting and just scaring the crap out of people. So we ended up with the sheriff at the set, and they thought it was hilarious, and that's probably about the funniest thing, yeah.
That's great. Well, Rich Newman, thanks for being on the show with us.
No problem.
And we'll be watching you on Facebook. How can people connect with you?
Elsinore Productions is the production company, so elsinoreproductions.com, and I'm on Facebook.
That's great. That's great. Well, thanks for coming out and being with us today, and we'll be watching what's happening with Elsinore Productions. And thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on Get the Part.